My name is Tiku Kobiashvili, 22-year-old filmmaker and photographer, and I had the pleasure to attend Sicilia Queer 2025 to present my documentary Inner Blooming Springs. So my documentary is about a group of friends, myself and two of my closest friends, Tina and Luca, and it is about the very political daily life of Tbilisi, Georgia, and how me and my friends try to find unity and power in resistance during the protests, ongoing protests in Georgia. My film had its premiere at the Berlinale in the foreign special section, and Italian premiere was in Sicily. When I started shooting my film, there was this law initiated called the Foreign Agents Law, which we call the Russian law. So the Russian law intended to prosecute all of the fundings from abroad for the NGOs, for the artists, so basically anybody who would get any kind of funding from abroad, especially from Europe, from America, for example, would become a foreign agent in Georgia. And after the protests, we had elections, which unfortunately was rigged. We did not get the results we would like to have gotten. The ruling party, who has been ruling for more than 10 years, stayed the same, who is very much pro-Russian. So we're kind of trying to protest against it right now. And we have more than 50 people detained at the very much peaceful protests. And these people are facing sentence in jail for years, basically for loving their country. So one of the main requests that we have at the protests is to free the political prisoners that we have right now and to have new elections that will be more controlled, so it's not rigged anymore. That's basically what we're fighting for at this very moment. And it has been more than 170 days of non-stop protests in Georgia. One of the laws that was also initiated by our government is anti-LGBTQ+ law, which basically forces the beautiful queer community of Georgia to stay in the shadows, to basically not have a voice, not have proper health care, not have any of the necessities that are basically human rights, but it is kind of cut off for the queers of Georgia. And of course, when it comes to funding and the NGOs and the communities that we have in Georgia who very much help the queers of Georgia to stay intact, to have a proper living, to have proper human rights, they basically cannot exist anymore because the fundings from Europe, from America, they're all cut off. And if they do not cut these fundings, they become like enemies of our government, so they become foreign agents. So it's basically straight away connects to, like, everything is all very much connected and is kind of ruining all of the sources, the necessary sources that we all need, even the not only the queers, the working class, the cinema scene in Georgia is also very much not looking good because of the cuts of fundings. About Elene Naveriani, I was very much familiar with their work. I love their work. Their films are amazing. And it's actually, their work is what I personally have seen, maybe the only work that I've seen that is queer and Georgian. We have some films, maybe shorts, some books, some writings, some articles about queer themes. However, not a lot and not so much because to some extent, it does not necessarily become safe for artists to be fully present, fully express themselves, etc., etc. Especially when we take the fact into consideration that Georgia is not really, unfortunately, a queer-friendly environment. However, I still feel like there are people and there are artists, especially my generation, who try to be very much loud and clear about the community, about the identity, about everything that kind of covers all of the queer themes in Georgia, because it is very much, I would say it is one of the most interesting topics to talk about, to work on, because there's a huge contrast between, for example, the traditions that we have, like the very traditional Georgian scene and the queer scene of Georgia, which is amazing, it's beautiful. However, it exists in silence and in the shadows, unfortunately. But I feel like slowly but steadily, something is gonna become more present in the future, I hope. And unfortunately, for the moment, it's kind of stressful to think about the future because the situation right now in Georgia is very much stagnant. However, what's kind of always brings me at peace is understanding the fact that the amount of love that we have for the country, the Georgian people have for their country, and the energy that we have, I do not want to think that it's going nowhere. This energy is spent for nothing. And I feel like the amount of love and energy that we have spent already, and we have been fighting for our freedom as long as I personally can remember, and as long as the country itself has existed. So it has been our main goal for the whole history, and I feel like till this very moment, we have survived. You know, we have existed, and we have won a lot of fights. And I feel like this is also going to be one of the fights that we'll be able to win. I do not exactly know, unfortunately, how the situation is going to change, how it's going to go. However, I still feel like we're going to go back to the path that leads to Europe for us, hopefully.